do you have uh, print vendors or
Yes.
partners around the world? So my work might be pretty good in Europe, but I
Hmm.
don't have any way of getting it there.
Yeah. So to start out with, like the print partners that we use in the United States is Bay Photo on the West Coast and another outfit called Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast. And the important thing about being partnered with these huge institutions is you also get their shipping accounts. So when you're doing 35, 40, $50 million a year, you're getting crazy rates on all of it, right? So early on, like using the East Coast one and shipping to Europe is really not that big of a deal. It's not even that additionally expensive. And so my advice to you would be, yes, you can do it day one. So don't stress about the shipping. Get the orders. If you start getting a bunch of orders, then you get into a little bit of a different scenario because it might make sense to get a printer that's out there. Now, we have recommendations, we have names. We don't have anyone that we're directly connected with because none of the markets have been big enough individually for it to make a ton of sense for our customers. But we have a bunch that are in Europe, a bunch of customers, I mean, and a bunch of different ways of doing it. But it gets real sticky in Europe because all the different countries and some of them have different import taxes, like so a lot of folks will just say international shipping is more and let DHL handle it and just let DHL go right out of our East Coast partner and it's like $20 or $30 more without having to stress about it at all. Like done, you're covered, right? So that's what I'd say.
Okay. So my other question is, the work that I do is something that I've found doesn't it's its own kind of thing. It's a very particular niche.
Yes.
I make very large
Mm-hmm.
prints, which is a challenge in itself for shipping,
For sure.
but also the subject matter. You can see one of the images behind me. It looks like an abstract painting, but actually it's a photo micrograph of a meteorite sample.
Wow. It's beautiful, by the
And
way.
so I photographed these incredibly rare meteorites under a microscope and produced these huge,
Whoa.
beautiful prints.
What a
So a
niche.
lot of a lot of my audience are meteorite collectors
Mm-hmm.
or scientists who have studied meteorites. But the beauty of these samples appeals to anyone who likes abstract, colorful, textured
Yeah.
stuff.
How the hell are you getting
So
access to the meteorites, by the way?
my I have a collaborator who's a meteorite scientist,
No
so
way.
he
Awesome.
I get to borrow all the slides I want.
Oh, that's amazing.
um,
We have,
so
believe it
so
or
the
not, we have two NASA employees that have their
okay,
art on. So you might have some good network in there.
yeah. So the question is, um, what will what do you guys do to try and tailor the marketing efforts to fit a kind of art that isn't necessarily that mainstream?
Yeah, it's kind of like every little niche has its own ups and downs. At the end of the day, marketing is fundamentally about the arbitrage of attention, right? You need more of it. And it's going to be less about like individual hacks and techniques that are going to go and get the meteorite lovers and more just about general, regular, and consistent marketing, which will get them anyway. You can get them writing hashtags, but you're going to get them ultimately by posting more frequently, getting the work shared more frequently, building the email list, and going like that. Now, there are some other advanced techniques that we could potentially recommend, i.e., targeting the types of people in your audience that meteorite lovers if it's a thing on Facebook and Instagram, which could be interesting. But you don't really want to get into the paid traffic game until you've got a pretty good solid humming business. You might have one that size already, but that's how I would go about it, right? It's less worrying about like you know how am I going to target this particular type of scientist or that particular type of scientist? And don't get me wrong, we do still have some techniques, but we wouldn't be automating that portion of it for you. We'd be giving you some advice on how to do that. But again, like if the work is cool, like, you know, everyone, the perfect corollary to your question is like, I just want to market my art to interior designers. How do I do that? Right. And people ask me that all the time. Like, I just need to find interior designers. And I'm like, okay, great. Tell you what, go on to House, which is the Facebook for interior decorators, and I want you to message 150 of them a day, every single solitary day for 3 years. Do that, and you'll probably get there. Or you could do regular and consistent marketing and let the interior decorators come and find you, which, as it turns out, is a better idea because do you have any idea how often the damn interior decorators get hit up by artists and photographers? Every single solitary day. We had we had a lady that was like, we have that Facebook group, and she'd post in there, I just sold $35,000 of my art. You guys are the interior decorator. Amazing. Instantaneously, everyone's like, how did you do it? How did you find them? How did you target her? Like, how did that all work out? And she's like, the interior decorator's daughter started following me 2.5 years ago on Instagram and told my mom. It's like, that's how it happens in the real world. You know, they'll come and find you. So you don't sweat the small stuff. What I would immediately worry about, though, is we do need to figure out a way for you to get the prints onto smaller sizes, not just the big dogs, because big sizes are awesome, but you're also dealing with not that many people have that size real estate to work with, right? So you're never going to be able to sell in volume. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do the big ones. You absolutely can, but you have to have the small ones too. Like, you know, one of the things that we really advise on and really feel very strongly about is how you approach your lineup and how you contemplate it, not just from a size standpoint, but from a price standpoint. And really the price proxy takes care of the size question that you have, or that I have for you. You need prices from 0 to 100. Okay. You need non-wall art in that price point. You need prices from 100 to 1,000, and you need prices way over 1,000. Once you have that, then you just start fitting in the sizes to take care of it. And when you don't have that, then you will never see the ROI from your marketing that you potentially could, because you are so limiting your scope of buyers, right? If the hardest thing to do is go out and get attention and get people to take an interest in your art and what you're doing, then the last thing that you want to be doing is handicapping all of those efforts by not having something for everybody. Because what no one understands about this business is the collector phenomenon is the entire ballgame. Okay? A collector list, and a collector is loosely defined as someone that will purchase multiple pieces of art from you over the course of a career. They're a collector. It's the beautiful thing about this industry. People get bonded to the artist. They love it. They want more and more and more. So you need to be doing everything you can to cultivating a collector list. The easiest way to cultivate a collector list is to be adding customers at every single size and every single solitary price point, because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. Just truth. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. And like, people laugh at me like, hey, you know, like, one of the things you guys offer is stickers. Why the hell would I offer stickers? Why the hell would you offer stickers? Let me tell you why you would offer stickers. Because I'm not ready to buy a giant piece of wall art right now. I just saw a cool asteroid post. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to follow you. Next thing you know, I'm distracted by a cat video and I've left. Okay, now you have stickers. Okay, I like these things. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a couple of these stickers. And then you know what I'm going to do with one of your stickers? I'm going to go and slap it on the refrigerator in my garage every single solitary day, sometimes too many times a day. When I go in there and get a beer, I am now looking at your asteroid print, and I'm like, damn, that thing is cool. Damn, that thing is cool. Damn, that thing is cool. It's 2 years down the line. I just moved into a new house or got a second house and need to decorate it. And now, because I've been staring at your print every single solitary day, I'm buying one of the big dogs, and you just hit a $12,000 sale. That's how it happens in the real world. And everyone's like, oh, I'm not going to sell those smaller things. And I'm like, oh, you're frustrating the hell out of me with that, because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have, right? One of the most important metrics in this business is number of new customers acquired per year, with the caveat that the new customer acquired, you need to have their email address so you can continue marketing to them, or they could be a social follower. But do not ever ignore that fundamental thing. You're like, dude, you just went on that whole rant. I actually do have small sizes, but it's important nonetheless.
Yeah, well, it is. It's something I've been thinking about. I have already seen that I've priced myself out of many smaller sales
Yeah.
because I make all the prints myself. I hand make the panels. I do all the work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, so I don't want to do it for $500.
No.
So my prices are much higher than any college kid could afford, even though I'm approached all the time by
Yeah,
college kids.
and
who
it's not even just
didn't
college
have
kid.
it.
It's not even just college kid. Like a lot of
Yeah.
times, you draw someone into your ecosystem, right? And they're just not in the market, and they like what you're doing. You have them right there. You attracted them, and because you didn't have something that they could go home with, you've missed the sale. You've lost, right? And like I rant about this concept called and I'm trying to see if I can find it in my little presentation here, but I call it anyway,